Hello everyone. Next, we'll briefly discuss the project life cycle and the stages. In fact, every project has its own life cycle. Every product has its own life cycle. And we humans also have our own life cycle, right? For example, we start from a tiny cell. From a baby to a teenager, to a young adult, to an old person, and finally just a memory. That's essentially our life. Similarly, a project goes through a series of stages, start to finish. This is the project life cycle. Generally speaking, a project's life cycle consists of several stages. However, specific terminology may vary across industries, but the overall content remains largely the same. Let's explore this further. Typically, at the outset of any project, there is an initial idea or concept. During this phase, the concept is developed or documented in some way. Next, a feasibility study is conducted. This may also include a business case. After these analyses are completed, and the project is deemed viable, it can officially begin. At the project's outset, we gather the client's requirements to understand their specific ideas, and expectations for the project. Once we have a clear understanding, we'll organize this information, and then create a preliminary design. In other words, to develop a solution that meets those needs. Once this solution is designed, we'll move on to detailed implementation. During implementation, we'll design the actual content, and then populate with details. After the design phase, a prototype can be created. You can think of a prototype as a demo. That way, users can see it and interact with it. And they'll understand how it works. Then it's time to build, manufacture, or develop. This is when we actually implement it. And develop it to get real usable results. Can it be used immediately after development is completed? Usually not. We usually test it first. The test is to identify any errors, so that these errors don't reach the customer. After that, there's a process called conversion. 的成 conversion might sound a bit new to you. Let me explain. What's conversion for? T moves the project from development to the operational phase. That's conversion. Next is a test run. You're probably familiar with test runs. Take a subway line, for example. Once it's built, it goes into a trial period. This can last 6 months to a year. That's the test run, right? Following the test run, there will be an inspection. In some cases, this is referred to as a milestone review. After the acceptance, they will summarize their experiences, and lessons learned to update the organization's assets. So generally, many projects start from an initial idea, are then completed. Following acceptance, the experience and lessons learned are summarized, and the project progresses through several stages. These stages make up the project life cycle. How do we manage these life cycles? To simplify management, life cycles are divided into several different types. One is known as the predictive life cycle. It's also called the waterfall model or waterfall life cycle. What does that mean? This life cycle has a clearly defined scope. Once we've gathered the requirements, we move on to design, followed by development or implementation. After implementation, we test it. And finally, we maintain it. The entire process flows like a stream, like a waterfall, cascading from one stage to the next. This is because the initial information is very clear, with minimal changes along the way, so it can be executed step by step. This is the traditional approach to projects, including projects like this one. For example, constructing a building or a road. Everything is planned out. This is a predictive life cycle. Another is called incremental. What does incremental mean? This approach can involve more deliverables. We can then break each phase down into multiple stages. Because the project can be more complex and lengthy, so we'll break it down into multiple stages and can complete them step by step. Once this stage is complete, we'll deliver it, then move on to the next. Then we deliver that and proceed to the following one. Once all stages are finished, with the delivery after each, the tasks within each stage are clear. However, the overall scope might be less defined. This approach ensures a delivery each step of the way. This is the incremental model. For example, you're having dinner with friends, and you order 5 dishes. But you're still hungry. So you order another dish. And the owner brings you one. That's the concept of quantity. 或 besides this type of vaccine, 包括 there's another very common type, 包括 take 2000 for example, 或 COVID-19 spread across the globe, 包括 we need to develop a vaccine, right? 或 when developing the vaccine, 或 you'll face many hurdles, 包括 you have to try different approaches, 或 and then you must proceed. 或 only when the vaccine has been proven safe and effective, 或 will be released, 包括 this is what we call an iterative process. What does iterative mean in this context? This involves multiple stages of refinement, 包括 with each version building on the last, 包括 until we arrive at the final product, 包括 that's what iterative development is. 包括 in fact, there are a lot of situations in life, 包括 that involve both advantages and disadvantages. In other words, each iteration addresses its drawbacks. 包括 in other words, project requirements are highly uncertain, 或 miss much uncertainty, 或 they continuously improve and update each version, 或 after completing a version, 或 the next version is developed under great uncertainty, with many improvements made, 包括 for example, let's say we're developing a mobile app, 或 most people use WeChat, right? 或 many people do. It's incredibly popular. Do you remember the features of the original WeChat? Could its creators have imagined what features? What will WeChat look like in 8 or 10 years? 包括 even its creators probably couldn't have foreseen that. 包括 so when they were developing it, 或 they weren't sure what it would become in the future. Well, initially it was just a simple messaging app. 或 later they added the ability to send and receive pictures. 或 then they introduced voice messaging. 或 video calls, bank account integration, 包括 red envelopes and even games. 或 they developed it step by step. 或 meanwhile, 或 the app continued to grow and evolve. 包括 at first, he didn't know what he would need later on. 包括 so developing this kind of mobile app is a typical agile approach. 或 for this type, it's a theoretical model. 或 what's the situation in real life? Real life scenarios are far more complex than this mathematical model. 包括 it's often a combination of multiple models. It's a mixed model. In other words, in real life, cooperative, incremental, iterative models. 包括 some other type. 或 that's real life. As for the exam, 包括 let's understand, for waterfall or predictive models, 或 the scope is pretty clear. In the early stages, 或 this scope is already defined. Making estimates is easier. 或 you can estimate it early on. There's less variability, 包括 the single final payment. 或 think of it like building a house. 或 you pay when it's done. When you build it, 包括 you've already got your blueprints. 包括 you can follow the blueprint exactly to build it. 或 this is what we call the predictive type. 或 and then there's the adaptive type. 或 where the requirements aren't so fixed. Goes by. It's updated and improved incrementally. 包括 so we call this gradual elaboration. The requirements are gradually elaborated. 包括 because the requirements are gradually elaborated. 包括 we estimate the time and cost. 或 you need to make estimates based on the requirements or scope. 或 if your scope isn't clear. 包括 your requirements aren't clear. 或 how do you estimate that? 或 so your cost estimates will only become clearer over time. 或 after each iteration, 包括 new version is released. 包括 that's essentially what iteration is. 包括 now, with the incremental approach, generally speaking, 或 the requirements might not be very clear. 包括 and the scope might be uncertain. 包括 it does have one key feature. Each increment has a clear objective. In other words, the goal of each increment is clear. But this part requires specific actions clearly. This is a key feature. Another difference from the iterative type is what requires multiple handovers. 包括 we submit a version and it's ready to use. Or then we submit another version and it's reusable. Or submit another version. 包括 another version. 包括 each submitted version is reusable. It's reusable. Or we'll submit a new version later and it's reusable. 包括 we'll submit another version then it's still reusable. 包括 then we'll provide another version. It can be used repeatedly. Or we'll deliver a new version next time. Or again it's reusable. Or we'll submit an updated version later. Or and it's still good to use. Or then we'll hand in another version. Or and it can be used again. Or then we'll submit a new version next time. 包括 and it can be used again. 包括 then we'll submit a new version next time. Or and it can be used again. Or then we'll submit. It involves multiple delivery versions. Or and finally, there's the agile methodology. It involves a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of ambiguity throughout the entire range. So of course, as we're working on it, we need to continuously update each version. Simultaneously, we need to deliver the results of each version, and then move on to the next. So there will be multiple deliveries, while a lot of information remains unclear. This makes it a combination of iterative and incremental approaches. Having considered this life cycle, let's examine how we typically manage the entire project. If you try to tackle everything at once, it could be a complete mess. We can break it down into multiple stages. and complete specific tasks within each stage. In this case, with a more focused approach, 包括 we can control things in greater detail, 包括 leading to better project management. Typically for a project, 包括 break it down into initiation, planning, execution, and closure phases. Each phase will yield specific deliverables. 包括 for instance, before initiation, 包括 we need to lay a lot of groundwork. This involves feasibility studies, and preliminary planning. And whether it proceeds or not is what we call business validation. Through this validation, 包括 we'll get a project business certification, and an efficiency management plan. 包括 these are prepared before we kick things off. At the project's outset, 包括 you'll receive some key information. One crucial document is the project schedule. This schedule is established at the project's start. It officially establishes the project status, appoint new project manager, 包括 to lead the team and manage the project. Next, we begin organizing and preparing. At this, we typically get a crucial document called the project management plan. 包括 this project management plan is a comprehensive guide. 包括 outlines our project specific goals, 包括 and how to achieve them through effective management. This includes aspects like schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, risks, procurement, and more. But how do we accomplish these goals? Need to create documents defining quality standards and overall direction. First, we need some planning documents. Then we execute them. After execution, we'll have tangible, concrete results. Sometimes these are referred to as deliverables. It's all the same. Once we have the information and it's verified, the project is complete, then it should be handed over to a third party, or transferred to operations. Building on stages, Cooper introduced the gates, as checkpoint, like a community security guard, he checks if you belong. If you're a resident, otherwise he needs information about you're visiting. Once this stage is completed, the gate determines if we proceed to the next. There are 4 possible outcomes. 1, you advance to the next stage. 2, you pause here temporarily. 3, you haven't met the objective, the desired state. You need to revise your approach. And 4, the project is cancelled outright, ending your involvement. Further work will be pointless. We simply terminate it. That's the concept of the gate. Let's talk about the concept of stage. In fact, the term stage predates the term gate. The concept of stage has existed for a long time. In English, it's called stage. Stage refers to dividing something into different phases, making it easier to manage, right? The term gate came later. This later introduced the idea that at the end of each stage, a stage evaluation should be performed. To assess the results of that stage, and determine if it can proceed to the next.